to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gonna be biblical.
Hello, everyone, and good day here at Patriots Across the Pond. This is Respect Monday with Elisa and Stu, episode 13. And today we are welcoming an amazing guest, LEAH Cartwright. How are you, LEAH?
I am wonderful.
Yeah, it's great to see you. It's great to see you because we met at the Awakening Summit in April, and I didn't really get to speak to you much until the last day. And I thought she's a very interesting lady. I'd like to speak to her more. So I've been looking forward to you coming on today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm finally at a place where I can actually talk about what I do publicly. So
Great.
That's why it's been a while.
Yeah. And I mean, as we had spoken on, I guess, off camera, like privately, and talking about how anyway we can help you to get the word out and, get on other podcasts and things like that. So people understand your work, which you're going to tell us.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, let me just read a little bit about you for our viewers so they know all about what you do. LEAH Cartwright, also known as Urban Night.
I'm going to say too, I've also changed my name to my maiden name, McCarty. So
McCarty. Okay.
I haven't updated legally, but it is my maiden name. So yeah.
Well, that's perfect because I did look in my phone and you're in that as my phone. So that's perfect.
I'm not going to digress too much on that, but I've been divorced since 2015, really. And it took me like a whole bunch of years into the marriage to change everything to the married name. And then when I got divorced, I was like, oh, screw this. So I use like the legal name for legal things. And then everything else is in the middle. But it's such a pain in the ass.
It's so trauma. You can't get your name, but nothing against him. We have a great relationship. We're still friends. We co-parent beautiful children. It's not, it's nothing like that. Thank you. It's just, I can't get my name back. And then I've got to go change my passport and this and that. And it's so frustrating. So it's no disrespect to anybody. I am legally changing it, which is the only reason I'm mentioning it. So I will be. Yeah.
That's good. But I hear you. Anyway, LEAH McCarty, you said, right? Mm-hmm. That's your name? Okay.
Yes.
She's also known as Urban Night Girl. And Urban Night Girl is a community advocate dedicated to strengthening families in need, especially those with children who are put into foster system. Guided by compassion, service, and a belief in the power of people helping people, LEAH works to connect individuals with resources, opportunities, and one another to create lasting change. As a student of constitutional law, LEAH is expanding her knowledge to educate, consult, and empower others to better understand their rights and navigate life's challenges. She believes that informed citizens build stronger communities and that lasting change begins with education, collaboration, and personal responsibility. Tell us now a little bit about this very disturbing case that you're working on, huh?
Yes. So for me, I'll just kind of start where Urban Night Girls started.
Yes.
I was introduced to a homeless ministry, and I just went to the streets and started just volunteering, just learning, listening, and volunteering my time and work cleaning. So we would show up at a church and we would minister to all the people, and then they had a bus that would go out to the streets of Phoenix into the worst parts, into the trafficking districts, and we would have a bus for men and then a bus for the women, and we would be armed, obviously, to be safe, and then we would take about 6 or 8 people with us and a bus driver, and we would go and talk to the girls and young men that are being trafficked and seeing if they wanted an opportunity to come out of the streets. We didn't come with judgment. We didn't come with anything. And truth be told, we never really had anybody come with us. It was more of a presence that every Friday night they knew that this bus was coming. There would be food and clothes and somebody there should they ever decide that the streets weren't for them. We just wanted to be a safe place and consistent. In those 2 years, I definitely took the time to educate myself on what happened in the streets, what was going on with the police officers, what was happening to all of the homeless and the women that, that the children had been taken. You have countless stories like a girl having a C-section, they keep the baby and they put her right back into the homeless encampment, all sewed up. Any woman who's had a C-section knows you cannot, it's not safe nor healthy for a brand new mother to just be put back out into the streets after that kind of major surgery. We were just finding that a lot of the youth are the displaced, aged out foster care kids. They are runaways from foster care. So it just became very apparent that it was one system was feeding another system, and it was just going in circles, and we weren't making progress on, bringing anybody. So then after 2 years of doing that, I started seeing some things in this church group that I didn't find godly, if you will. It had been built where they were creating ministries and getting the finances, and then the money was going up multi-level, which I'm totally for multi-level. I don't have a problem with it at all, just not in God's kingdom. Like, we're not making money on a system and giving it to a pastor, 10 levels up because of what we're doing in the streets of Phoenix. That's not going to happen on my watch. So they were trying to persuade me to take this ministry, open it, and go with it, because I had duplicated my ministry in 10 locations, 2 in Texas, 2, 1 in New York. I was duplicating what I was doing, online. I was able to facilitate people to be able to do this and fund them. I was getting resources to help, and I would send resources throughout the country to help people do what I did. It did become dangerous. The bus had been shot at one night when I wasn't there by one of the pimps. They did try to rescue a girl one night, and another night, we got into a fight with a pimp because they were going to kill 2 girls in the streets of Phoenix, and we intervened, and my ex-husband ended up with a broken rib, and there was an arrest, and the girls were taken to a hospital. The outcome, I don't know. So did you have any questions to this point? This is kind of where I started. Yeah.
I just want to know, because we always like to ask our guests, what their journey has been, whether it was their awakening journey or the journey that got them onto what they're doing now. So I'm curious, you started with, we were ministering, how did you get to that point? What's been your journey?
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to ask as well. It's obviously, were you aware to the trafficking first, or were you aware to the world wasn't right first, and this brought you into the trafficking? I'd like to go right back to the start of when you had your moment of something's wrong here.
Well, that moment started when I was 7 years old. So my first experience in that was a very minimal, and I don't minimize anybody's case. And I'm not discounting mine, but it was minimal because I had parents that listened. So I had been being touched by a neighbor, and by the time I was 8 years old, my dad was a Yavapai sheriff in Arizona, and he had his gun and badge taken away, and he was sent home, and the man was arrested, and later I testified, and he was put in prison for 18 months. However, in the meantime, my mother found 47 other children that had been brutally, you know, molested by him and sodomized, and it was just an exposure. And this was in 1978, so it opened my eyes. Praise God, I had a mother that listened and took action and fought like hell and protected me, as well as my stepdad. So fast forward, I kept running into all my girlfriends. I was finding that all of my girlfriends had had these experiences, and then even to young men. And so throughout my life, I became an advocate as a young person, with my family, as an advocate for life, at abortion clinics. Then I started being advocate at school as a peer counselor for friends that were dealing with these traumas. I had been saved. I had a mother who, you know what I mean? I could go home. I didn't have somebody pushing me out or abusing me at home. They were protecting me. So thank God my story was small, but it imprinted in me the need, then to move forward and always be an advocate.
Yeah.
So then I did that with the peers in school. And when I met this woman who invited me to go to this homeless ministry, it was already in me. When I moved to Arizona, I started doing fundraising for 6 little girls that were satanically abused and were in a hidden home 30 minutes from my house in Arizona. So I owned a bakery. I would donate, and I would donate cakes. We would auction them off. We'd give the money to the children. I would do their birthdays for free. Just any way, as a community member and business owner and a mother of many children. I've had a blended family of 8 children, so I had a lot to fight for myself. I have a lot to protect, and I have grandchildren. And so doing that for those years, then I started becoming public, and I started speaking, and I started a podcast. I started doing documentaries on it. I created cages with Lewis Herm. I told him, he flew to Arizona, and out of the years of street ministry that I had learned, all the things that I had learned, and I started sharing with him, we were in agreement that cages needed to happen. We needed to expose what was really going on, especially in Arizona. And then I found this family. Somebody brought me a family and said, "Hey, you're Urban Night Girl. What can you do to help this family?" And I saw the injustice that was so horrific. As somebody that had the spirit of God, I couldn't not help. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I didn't trust that God brought this to me to start exposing the crimes that had been built up all of these years of learning what was really going on.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. So today, I know you've been working on a project.
Yeah.
And you said that it was something that you couldn't talk about. I think even when we were in New York, you were
Yeah.
alluding to something you were working on, but it was still very, quiet. Are you
Yeah.
are you at the point now that you could tell us about what's going on and what you're doing and how people can support what you're doing in some way?
Yes. So we have exhausted pretty much every remedy in the court system. So the family that I was brought, I'll just paint a quick picture for the guests to understand. I was introduced to a family who, they're homesteaders. 2 of their children do not have birth certificates, and most of them are minimally vaxxed, if not 0 vaccinations. And they live on a 40-acre homestead in the middle of absolutely nowhere. So picture, without running water the way we see it and without the resources that we have in our homes, imagine how this family must live. They don't live like we do. They're outdoors people. So they don't, their hygiene's not the same. So there's a lot of things that we don't understand. So when this family went on a vacation in Christmas to visit their very, very sick mother from Arizona to Nevada, where their mother was in Las Vegas, they found that she was much sicker than they had anticipated. And so, with their 5 kids and their 2 dogs, they reached out in the state of Nevada for temporary housing assistance. They had realized that mom was way too sick. So, without anything, they took 5 children with armed police officers out of a hotel room. Instead of saying, sorry, we don't have resources in Nevada, go home. Go home with your 5 children and your dogs. Sorry for your bad luck. No, they took the children, which then out of state, the parents then were now homeless in Las Vegas with 2 dogs at Christmas. No resources and no going home, because guess what? The state took their 5 children out of a hotel room.
How old were the children that they took? Their age ranges?
At that time, the baby was nursing under
They
1
took
year,
a
right?
nursing baby away from
1
its
year,
mother.
yeah, about 1 year old, and then they had a 3 and a 4-year-old, another couple of toddlers, and then they had some preteens that were 12, 13ish. Yeah. And prior to that, they'd already had 2 other children, one taken with the Jeffrey Epstein executive 14 years prior out of Hollywood, and then another family situation that is not in a dire situation. It's just a family wrongfully taken, but this child is with the biological mother and doing well. But the dad did get his rights, taken unjustly. So
I heard a story. I just want to interject something just to see, because my knowledge of constitutional law is very peripheral, so I hear it through stories and stuff like that. So I'm far from, a common law expert. But I heard a story about a guy who, I don't know the reasons, but his 1 or 2 children were taken away for whatever reason there were, right? And he went through the court system and nothing worked. And then he got a common law lawyer, and the lawyer basically said, you don't say anything and just let me talk. And he basically said to the judge, I demand, whatever the wording is, that this man be returned his property, referring to the children.
Right.
And the judge was steaming and pissed off and said, bailiff, return this man's property. And boom, 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 he had his kids back. Is that the kind of thing that we're dealing with when it comes to, because the bar association legal system is rigged against us?
Absolutely. Yes. What ends up happening is, first of all, as an advocate, so I then became a very powerful advocate for the family. It just so people know, God, the creator, also gave me the resources at the time to financially handle the what's called being a burnt spy. And so there's layers of this deterioration of the family unit that they start with, and they just ramp it up as they go. And every time you make headway in the court system, they do something to kick you back. It's 1 step forward, 10.
Oh, 1 step forward. She might have had a call coming.
Yeah, that usually does it. Knocks you, because she's not really
she's
off.
on the phone, isn't she?
Yeah. Wow.
If the battery's gone, she's scratching about for a charger now.
Wow, right at that pivotal moment. Just hard to, there's like an audacity. That's the only word that comes to mind, to think that your systems, forget about the emotional impact, that you take a nursing baby, I still can't get over that, away from its mother, okay, as opposed to, let's sit down because we're concerned about your children. And maybe you're not, from our perspective, this is what we, right? There's no acknowledgement. These kids are probably healthier than every kid in the country, walking on the dirt, being outside, not being vaxxed. And they just walk in and think that they, it's part of the legal system, right? That gives them the right to do this, the maritime law. But it's just, again, going back to this whole no respect for the family, for parents. I'm sorry, I'm just going off on a tangent, Leah, if you can hear us.
You can carry on because she's just dipped out again.
No, if anybody knew what these organizations were truly about, that we're learning now, and what their real intents were and what they do, and to just swoop in and think that what's better for someone else's child. Now, obviously, if the kids had black and blues, I'm just like going off on a rant about the audacity of the court system to just come in and take children away and not say, okay, like let's say you have this different view, like bare feet, dirty feet, hair. Okay, to say, look, we just want to make sure that the kids are okay. And this is something that, a lot of people don't live like you. So, we're concerned. But to take a nursing child away from its mother, to think that pulling children away from their family, I mean, it's just so unbelievable to me that they don't work to want to keep a family together and figure out maybe if they're maybe not, parts missing. They want to swoop the kids away because we've all learned how corrupt these systems are.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the truth, and it's more common than it's not. And I think that's what people don't understand, the gravity of now making, these interstate, they do these interstate compacts where they take them, and it's happening across this country. So the state of Arizona is doing what's called ad hoc meetings. And there's an amazing representative, Rachel Keschel, and a Senator, Mark Fincham. Now, I'm going to reserve my opinion on anything personal about any of this. They are doing very, very powerful work, and people are flying in from all over the country to speak in Arizona. They want to be at these ad hoc meetings because their children are also across state lines. They, one of the parents moves out of state or whatever, and that happens, or they're trafficked, like this family. This is straight up interstate trafficking. There's no other. These people have a homestead in Arizona. They don't live in Nevada, and they've made them homeless in Nevada. So in the wintertime, because it was December, it was okay for a while. But as you well know, in Nevada and Arizona, it's 115 degrees in the summertime. You can't live in your car, right. And you're not allowed to be homeless anyway.
Not allowed.
So.
Yeah. When did this happen? What was the year?
2 years ago. 2 years ago, December. Mm-hmm. Now, so we're a year and a half in.
So are they still, they weren't able to make it back to Arizona? Is that the idea? Or
currently they are back in. We have nowhere else. I mean, there's nothing else to do. In fact, I stayed in Trump International for 2.5 weeks and served the entire state of Nevada endlessly, over and over and over, to return the children. And they have still not done it. And we've done it legally and lawfully.
Wow. So, so what happened next when they took the children away and the parents were basically stuck there? What sort of process happened after that, if they had nowhere to stay as well?
Well, yeah, they lived out of their car. I was able to come alongside them. Again, divine appointment. I knew that God had brought this to me. It was in support of what I was already doing, and it was exposing something that I'd already known, and it just gave me the opportunity to do that. So I kept them. They drove Uber, so they were trying to make money to feed themselves, get hotel rooms, feed their dogs. So we did that for months while they helped, I would supplement. But it just got so dire. I don't think people realize it's 50 cents a page to a file. So every single filing, every document the families put through, they have to pay for every filing. And then they have to buy the court records at 50 cents a page back. So if there's 1,000 pages in your court documents, you have to buy them. They don't give them to you.
Oh, yeah.
And so the financials are exponential when and then you have to get a drug test, and then you have to go to counseling, and then you have to meet this parenting class, and you have to go here, all the while holding down a job, keeping a roof over your head, maintaining your cars, maintaining your health and your life, all of the things, and then add another full-time, work to get your child out of a system that they took illegally when you don't even live in the state. So the severity of this case, then, the minute they had a flat tire, well, guess what? That sets them back $100 of Uber. So they've Uber Eats, they have $100. What do they do with it? They're going to feed themselves, they're going to feed their dogs, and then they're going to try to get a roof over their head for the night. But a flat tire, they're now behind. 2 flat tires, they're really behind. We're on 10 flat tires in 22 months. 10. We're on 3rd car, 4th RV. Their property is ransacked. They are stalked. They are followed. They have come to my house. I have been followed multiple times all over Arizona and Nevada. So even the advocates then are, on the radar.
So I want to ask you, well, I have so many questions, but just on what you just said. So number one, we know that the Trump administration, one of the first executive orders he signed was anti-trafficking, right? So we know that the radar is now on this, and we're trying to, but this goes so much deeper than, just what we think about when we think about trafficking, right? You think about there's like a cartel or a group, and they grab kids, right? And we're not thinking necessarily yet as a collective in this country and internationally that part of the problem originates within the government organizations, right? So you're thinking, many people think or have thought that CPS and the foster, it's all there to help and this and that. And then you have like a movie, okay, albeit it's a movie, but you have a movie like Good Will Hunting 20 years ago, whatever it was, showing what goes on in these foster homes, right? With him getting beaten and abused. So the question I have is, I know we're trying to do these things like at the state level, but what do you know what the administration has or is doing for this kind of stuff? Because this is like, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's more like under the radar stuff. It's not like blunt in your face, someone's grabbing kids off the street. And it's these organizations. Like, do you see that these organizations, from what you can tell from doing this for so long, that they're starting to be either infiltrated or taken down by the good guys? Do you see, is there any hope, I guess is what I'm saying, because this is all part of the trafficking network.
It's actually horrifying a lot of the times for people on my side of this, where we're intimately walking through this path with a family. Like, I haven't left their side in this time, and I've watched every single thing. Yes, there are things that are happening. I did want to express that we are working into the trust where we're dealing with international non-negotiable instruments and chambers. That is something that doesn't normally happen. However, I have been able to participate in that, and there's 2 other people that I'm aware of right now that are also doing these behind the scenes documents that allow us to, like you said, give back the children to their rightful owners. We own our children. They're our property because God gave them to us. It's a God-given thing. We are the protectors of these children. And when our rights are taken, we have to fight in a different way. How I do it, yes, we call it ghostwriting on the shadow docket. So in constitutional law, again, I'm no lawyer. I'm just on the job training. I'm just a mom. I owned a cupcake shop. I owned a cupcake shop for 20 years, and I've turned in, to educating myself on this because it's powerful. We do have to learn how to stand up. When Trump gave us the power back to the people, Lewis Herm says it all the time. Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody. It's us. We have to stand up collectively. Everybody needs to find a foster care situation, family or somebody in the judicial system that is wrongly incarcerated, and with your knowledge and your trust that you know this person, you've watched them, you grew up next to them, you went to school with them, you go to church with them. Are they righteous families? Are they being taken advantage of through the judicial system? Come and follow along how we as family advocates, it has been traumatizing to be one or two people helping a family. If there were 20 people helping, the load would be very light for me and with everybody else, because there are things that everybody can do to come alongside these families to break the system down, because numbers matter. The sheer numbers of people showing up as court watchers, advocates, sitting in courtrooms, writing affidavits, defending the family. If they have to print documents, let them print documents on your ink. Come alongside them in some way that lifts these smaller burdens, because the bigger burdens are always going to be there. The court dates, babysit their kids for free when they have to go to court, or if they don't have, because a lot of them have other children at home. Whatever you can do to come alongside as a family advocate, time, talents, and treasures, it doesn't always cost money, and it will make, I can't even express enough the difference that it makes when some of these smaller burdens are just lifted from these families so that they can keep moving forward. I call it putting out their fires.
Leah, that all sounds great, but the average person isn't even aware. So like, we need to build awareness. I mean, obviously within the truther community, our audience,
we're all aware. Yes.
We have to share that. We can't just say, oh, I know it. We have to share it. That's why we do our podcast. And then the people that listen to us share. But I just can tell you that when you go in, when you see most people, they don't, I guess this is my question. If our government, not that we're waiting for them to save us, but what I'm saying is, these are systems that are very big. And unless we get more information about how corrupt they are, people can't stand up. I can think of, just off the top of my head, so many women that do volunteer work, and they would like jump on to do something like this if they knew there was a need. But the problem is, we're still not being told. And yes, I put a little bit of that onus on our, good administration to put it out there to say, hey, what you think, like, there has to be a point where some of this information is put out there a little bit bigger, so the average person who's just trying to go to work and take care of their family says, you know what, I didn't realize this was something I could do. And the other thing is too, our court system is so broken. Maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's meant to be that.
It works just fine, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But
we all know that.
Yeah. Look at the marital, courts. It's disgusting. It's a joke. It's so, they just want to push the cases through. They don't give a shit if, even with parental rights, we've seen, like with Joe Rambo, what he's gone through, and they'll return a child to someone who's proven to have been abusive. I mean, it's just so illogical. So my big question is, how do we get more awareness, and how do we get we know that most of our Congress people are compromised. We don't even know if they're there anymore, right? How do we get this ball rolling so that we can start to build awareness of what's really going on in the foster programs and the CPS and how they work together?
I mean, you got to just get people like me and the team that I work with in front of groups. I know people are hesitant to, approach possibly churches because everything has been infiltrated. However, if we go at the core of what the church truly is meant to be from our creator, was a gathering place for the afflicted, where we, the strong, come together and support the afflicted in the community, right? That would be the intention. God's intention was we as a collective helped the elderly and the widows and the orphans, right? That's what the church is meant to do. And we're clearly not doing that And we've allowed all of this to happen to our brothers and sisters sitting next to us in the pew. So I spoke at a conference last night or yesterday, and I asked the audience how many people in the room, and it was a small one. So we're not talking a lot of people. There were 6 people in this very small auditorium of people that knew somebody. And so however, there's 100 other people to, however many hundreds of people are in this room, there are 6 people. Pretend we are a church. Pretend this is a church meeting. And we're all sitting here and I'm the pastor and I'm telling you what's going on. And this group of 100 or so, how much work could this 100 people do to come alongside these 6? If you know what's going on and you know the needs, you could probably put out half of the fires like that. Simple things like a mom can't get her children back if she doesn't have a full pantry. She can't get it back if her kitchen sink isn't working properly. She has to have running toilets. Do you see what I'm saying? Some very simple, any man can come along and throw in a new sink, a new faucet. Somebody can come and put groceries in her cabinet. Somebody can, babysit while she makes a meeting. I mean, there are basic non-financial ways to come alongside families that will make all the difference in the world for them to move forward to do what only they can do, right? Only they can handle their case. However, every single family in the court system is under the ADA advocacy because by law, having your children it causes PTSD for everybody in the family. And PTSD is a recognizable disability. And the American Disabilities Act requires that every single person is afforded for free an ADA advocate for them in court at all times. That is a law. That's a law that nobody knows. These are things that you can get out and say, go get you an ADA advocate. They're your best friend. And we need to start training. We need to teach people how to be ADA advocates because everybody gets one. They just don't know it. Nobody advertises that you have free help. So, and then writing affidavits, that doesn't take anything. Get on ChatGPT. You can write an affidavit. You can be a court watcher. If you're in a wheelchair, you can be a court watcher all day long, every day and help families. You can go sit at a courtroom. Are you retired and you have nothing to do? Go hold hands with moms and dads in court. Get your elderly group and get 10 or 15 of you and go down there and put eyes on those judges and those guardian ad litems and those attorneys that are sitting in those courtrooms. This is free public information. You can go sit anywhere. Can you imagine if 100 people showed up to court and moved from courtroom to courtroom to courtroom and just sat in with every parent? You know what it would do to those judges and those attorneys to know 100 people are sitting out there? Oh, who are you? We're just advocates. We're just watchers. We're keeping our eyes on you. What relationship to you are to this family? Just an advocate. Thank you. They have to acknowledge you. They have to acknowledge your presence, especially when you come in online. I mean, this is literally the most basic that you can do that is the most powerful is to show up. Get up out of your chair and show up to something that supports families. It's that simple. Now, there's a million other things and the finances. I mean, I'm in a situation. I've spent more money than was comfortable. I'll just say that I'm uncomfortable now. So I kept when I gave my speech yesterday, everybody in this entire world that is on our side, that has a home, that has a car, that has finances, that has a job, that doesn't have their children taken and being raped and sodomized in child protective services, needs to get uncomfortable. It's going to hurt. You're going to have to sacrifice. Pick up your cross and follow Jesus. That's what he said. Pick up your cross and follow me. And it is at great cost. Nobody's willing to be uncomfortable. Nobody's willing to put down the Starbucks. Nobody's willing to stop buying, the purses and the shoes and to going to the restaurants. People are not willing to sacrifice anything for their brother or sister. And we aren't going to get anywhere until they do. So if everybody's crying about how long this is taking, now you know it's you. It's because of you. You're not moving. You're not helping. You're not acknowledging. And until you wake up, we're stuck. We're not going anywhere because Trump by himself as the president isn't going to do shit. He can't. He gave us the power. Go look up your constitutional law. Every single Supreme Court justice ruling, my business partner is brilliant. She reads all the rulings, she takes the current rulings and she implements them in her constitutional paperwork that we're working on now. And then because I'm the one that's more available, then I'm the one that goes and serves it. The reason why I have to travel in constitutional law, you cannot serve the way a bar attorney does. You have to go in person. So it requires me to get a hotel room. It requires me to travel. It requires food. And I stay in places 2 and 3 weeks at a time because they respond and they have 72 hours. Then you have to respond 72 hours. Then they have to respond. So I'm literally live action, traveling around the country, filing documents, waiting, filing documents, waiting, filing documents, and then I fly home. So it works very different for what I do, and it's very costly. And I have rented home. I still have to pay, I have to have somewhere to live at home. So I'm dual taking care of my household, so I have something to go home to, and then it costs me. And then all of the filing fees while I'm traveling working for clients. So I have it dialed in, but it's exhausting and financially draining. So and there's not very many of me. So.
Wow. I love what you just said because
Sorry, I was muted then. I was just talking.
Sorry. I'll let you finish in a second. I just what I'm thinking is, right? This is like what I'm thinking in my own little world. I have a lot of people I could think of that do volunteer work or want to.
Right.
I have a lot of people in my world who are in the legal system, good people, not scumbags. And a lot of those people are always thinking, well, I'll do a little pro bono and that's nice. But this idea of the watcher groups.
It's powerful. It is so powerful just to show up because it throws them off. Why are there 50 people on our online chat? Because all you do is call in. They give you a link. You're a court watcher. You're watching all of them. Everybody should be a court watcher. Everybody. And go. Okay, I'm going to go back to the churches. You have the churches filled with elderly. They're looking for things to do. They want to serve. They've lived their life. They have time, talents, and treasures. They have a lot to bring to the table to help young families, right? If they're healthy, they can babysit. If they're healthy, they can go sit with them at court. If they're healthy, they can get online. I mean, it's literally about the numbers. Stand up. Louis Herm says it all the time. Nobody's coming to save us. I mean, that man has been screaming it from the rooftops. We have to do the work.
We the people are the plan. We say it all the time. I've been saying it for years. Listen, just use your voice. It doesn't matter. Get involved. Start sharing stuff on your social media and stop being scared about it, right? And get involved. And General Flynn says it all the time. Local action equals national impact. If everyone was just to walk outside their house in mass non-compliance and we're not playing your game anymore, that's pretty much it over. But people have to get involved and doing, these things like that and getting in court and whatever they're doing, right? If you start using your voice, you're actually playing a part, aren't you? And I just want to ask you, because you've mentioned God and Jesus a few times. Now, I don't want to say this, you were lucky, but the experience you had, right, and having a loving family around you to pull you out of that and seeing that person get arrested, that we've all suffered trauma. Pretty much everyone I know has been through some sort of traumatic experience to put us on the path we're on now, and to give you that. If that hadn't happened to you, you wouldn't be an advocate and doing all this stuff you're doing now, would you? Potentially.
I count it all good for God, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
Leah, okay, again, I keep going back. I'm very stuck in gear on this whole watcher thing because it doesn't cost money. It costs time, right? But it doesn't cost money. And most people, I would say, I don't want to say 10 out of 10, but pretty close to 10 out of 10 don't even understand this process and what you can do and what, how many families are going through the court system where their children have been taken away into CPS, into the foster, because some official has decided that this family is not meant to have their children, which belong to them. and they see them as vulnerable, right? So this is a great way to take children and traffic them and do all kinds of other horrible things. Is there like somewhere, some resource that I could send out like to all my friends like about this? Because obviously I'm going to send what we just spoke about here because you are the best educator of this. But is there just a link, or is there a one sentence or a 4-sentence thing that I could say, hey guys, anybody, we need to get involved. If we all love the children and we're sick of all the corruption that goes on, we need to be aware that there's a couple of very simple things we can do, especially those of us that want to volunteer and may not have lots of money to just donate to help someone. If we do, great. If we don't, how do we, I'm thinking of, like you said, senior centers and all these other places that these people don't know what to do with themselves, and they want to help.
I agree. Here's part of the issue. We're back to, I don't have time to do the work for everybody. I'm one person and I travel around the country serving families and in cases that people don't even know that I do stuff for them. I've served documents for very, very high profile public cases that nobody even knows that I filed documents, because the way that we do it constitutionally, like habeas corpus, I've put in habeas corpuses for people who don't have any idea, and that one day they will, because when it plays out, they'll understand why we did what we did, because I work with a team of people and we know the power of what we're doing. And so because we can be an advocate for any genre of law, we tend to fight for people that don't understand. So we do things behind the scene. But as far as, sorry to digress on that, but for this, people have to, I can't put a link to the court cases in, New Jersey.
No, I didn't even mean that. I meant like, how would you concisely put a few sentences together that we who are watching can explain this to other people to get this, or, put on our social media? That's all I'm asking, because you have more of the tools to I didn't mean, my God.
Okay, yeah, because if there, and I'm trying to link it to my Urban Night Girl. I'm trying to just be a resource. I can't. So this is what we'll open up. Let's just play this out scenario of, I say, hey, I need help for this family. Come alongside me. I need somebody, because right now, truth be told, they're running out of water. They're running out of propane. They're running out of resources, right? Because they can't get jobs. They don't have driver's license. They don't have birth certificates. They're out of the system. So they're functioning in life. They've gone to gold backs. I don't know if you guys know what gold backs are, but they're international. So they use those. We use crypto, because these are things that are used outside of the system. Side note, I got my federal bank shut down doing this process, working in gold and silver, because I get paid sometimes in silver. The government came in and shut my bank account down so that I can no longer use the banking system. So I also use gold and silver and gold backs and XRP and XLM, and I'm big advertisement for them, because it has helped me navigate a system that shut my bank account down right in the middle of me being out of town and working for clients. I now can't go to the bank. So that they try to stop everybody. One of my ADA advocates that works very closely with me, they took her 3-day-old granddaughter out of the hospital during this case. So then we spent the next 8 months simultaneously working on all these other cases. We now had to get her granddaughter back. Her granddaughter, because they don't want us. They know what we're doing. They don't want us working hard. The independent counsel that's, I don't know what she's called, advocate for the ad hoc meetings, she uses my security, because I have a guy that runs a security team, and they hire him because now she's a target for all kinds of things. So we're all being targeted just as advocates, not just the family. So we do need to be able to have a foundational thing, that the most basic, and I will put that together for you. And then I don't want a call to action of, hey, come help me, because guess what? That just opens the door for every other perpetrator.
Yeah.
So my point of my call to action is I can't put a public call to action to help me and any family that I'm associated with because I don't know who's coming in. Every
Yes.
other perp is going to be like, oh, a new avenue to get to the most vulnerable, right? They're going to get out of the system and I'll be there to catch them. Well, now you're just putting in the hands of somebody else. So
Yeah.
we can't, I'm learning I can't do that. What I need is for you at your church or your affiliation, wherever you are, you know somebody, you're the filter. I know this family has not harmed their children. I've spent 22 months living with them and watching and paying attention and reading everything that's going on, making sure that they are constitutionally sound. Did they do something? I don't know these people. I've never met them. Now, that's a different case. But if you're sitting at church next to somebody, and so in that room, 6 people raise their hand. Does anybody know each other? Do you have somebody that can vouch for this family? I've gone to school with them. I've gone to church with them. They're good people. They had their children. Let's build a coalition. And I'm going to be the filter for any nefarious behavior. The plumber that needs to come and fix the mom's sink, I'm going to make sure the plumber's good. I'm going to make sure the people bringing the groceries are good. Just a filter for a family that you know and trust. Then you need to start looking who's in those documents. Who's the judge? Who's the CPS worker? Who's the lawyer? Who's running these kids? Because guess what? They're in your neighborhood. They go to your kid's soccer game. They sit at the parent teacher meetings. You see them at the grocery store. When they say they're not going to be able to walk down the street, it means they're not going to be able to walk down the street. Find a family, dig into their case, make sure they're righteous, and then you start going after all of these infractions constitutional. You have to pull out the constitutional, things that are done against them, and you have to work against the judiciary. So jurisdiction, there's some basic things that we can guide people on. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell you. But what I do know is foundationally, if they don't have jurisdiction, they don't have anything. And a state cannot be a party to a person. What crime did this family commit against the state of Nevada? Nothing. Well, that's constitutional law. You don't have any jurisdiction to take my children. Thank you very much. You can give them back now. So you have to know how to come at them before they ever get to your door. Number one, once they're at your door, what do you do? And once they've taken your children, how to re-engineer statutory law using common law to undo the injustices and fight that. And it's an on the job training education. So everybody has to put the time and effort into, because guess what? The borders are closed, the tunnels are shut down, and they're coming for your children and your grandchildren. This is the message. You're next. It's at your door, and you just don't realize it because there's no more children funneling this system. It's American children through the hospitals and schools. So pay attention.
So Leah, what you just described in my mind is sort of next step. In other words, that's like next step, getting more involved, helping someone hands-on in any way. What I'm talking about is the watcher idea. I think is brilliant because it doesn't require, what you just described is a little intimidating just for someone who's never done anything. Like, okay, but how many of us, I don't know anyone whose kids, they having a problem with CPS. I live in a very upscale neighborhood. So it's probably other things are being done that I don't know about. You know what I mean? But that I never had anyone like that my kids went to school with that, the mother but being a watcher maybe and watching and kind of overseeing when the case is actually happening, or like you said, going online, that's something a lot of people can do. Once you do that, and I'm saying, do you start by going online and looking at the docket? Like, how do you actually become a watcher? That's what I'm trying to.
And that's why I said I will work on that. I've never had anybody ask me that question because, again, I've been like working so intently for almost 2 years. I haven't come out of my bubble because, first of all, these children's lives are at stake. I have to be protective of any information getting out. We're at the end. I mean, we've been doing this. We've stopped the adoption like 5 times. So
let's talk about that. So this family, just to summarize for anyone who just joined, this family was homestead. They lived homestead, meaning that they weren't part of the system. They had some health issues, I guess. They went to the state of Nevada, where now they're out of their state. The team that was supposed to help them actually determined that they were bad parents because their kids had dirty feet and their hair was a little messed up because, of course, they're living on the land. And they took all their children, including a nursing infant, away from them. And these people, it took them a while. They had their dogs, they had a car to just be able to have the money. Now, from that point, what was the route or the channel, if you will, that happened to the children? What actually happened that you have been trying to get? Like, where are you getting these children back from? How has this whole thing worked? Whatever you can or can't talk about.
And can I just add to that as well? Because they went to visit their mother, didn't they? That was poorly. What happened to the mother?
The mother of the children?
No. Didn't they take their 5 kids? Because
she is still alive, and she is with. We have now put the 3 of them together. We have grandma with mom and dad. Their health is extremely poor, and you can imagine broken heart syndrome is a real thing. It is a real, very, very real thing. And the family is not healthy. The trauma is, the mom's on oxygen. She has congenital heart failure. So we're working. That's why I said they're out of resources. I'm out of resources. It's getting uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But yes, they are together as a family, and I do have my eyes on them, and I do take care of them and make sure that they are alive and they have food and they're protected. So
they're back in Arizona, but now tell us about their children, because how many? 5 of them were taken?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the 3 littles are in a very dire situation because I believe this is from what I see. They were already, kind of pre ordered, if you will. I mean, they were a target. They're young and pure. The baby has had 4 eye surgeries on it already and can no longer see. He has digressed and isn't doing well physically. There's a little girl that has been violated, and I have a pubic hair hiding in a freezer in an undisclosed location. They've seen semen coming out of the little boy's behind when they were doing visits at the Child Protective Service office. So they are with, what I believe is happening is, and people don't understand this, and I've said this to Jerry Sheridan's face, so if this ever gets out publicly, I had a private meeting, and I have said this, and I've spoken publicly. They are, to my knowledge, they are taking the undocumented people coming over, making them foster parents, and then picking like these 3 infants, underage, where they don't speak a lot of English. They're small. They don't have all of that. They're putting them in homes with the non-English speaking refugees. And as soon as the adoptions go through, it creates citizenship then for the illegals, and then the children can be adopted to them in perpetuity. They get the money until that child turns 18. So whatever age it is, 2, 3, 5, it doesn't matter. That person will get the money, yet they can then transfer that child that they've quote unquote adopted and become an American citizen with. They can do anything with that child monitored. So that can be multiplied however many times that can be multiplied. The reason why these children cannot be adopted at the current moment is 2 of them do not have birth certificates. So that stops the inner compact. You have to understand those bonds are not created. So they can only do 3 of the 5. So so now we're in a negotiation with the state of Nevada. They're trying to negotiate a bonded contract with the children. And that's why I can't get them back right at the current moment.
So where are they? Like, who is holding these children?
They're in a foster home with non-English speaking people in Nevada, and then the 2 older ones they're in a decent home actually. And I know I've met the foster parents, the foster father multiple times, and he's actually a nice person. However, they had come from a group home, so they were being beat. The girl was almost raped multiple times because they put them in a group setting. And by the way, they put barbed wire on the inside, like a prison. They take a bunch of kids and they throw them in there, and then they were doing fight clubs with the older kids one night. We had it on video. The daughter was calling from the inside because they were hosting a fight club, and she was getting the crap beat out of her while we were on the phone with her. So yeah, they're just being held in Nevada. So we, in fact, we had an uninvasive eye opportunity to bring in some natural healing to the infant, and they denied us. They denied us care for the baby. So I have another court hearing. Yeah, and they're gonna try to adopt him out again and do another surgery on the infant. So I have that on.
This is all preferable, I say that, to being with their family.
Of course.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and the parents, listen to this. The parents met when they were 6 years old. Now, their life has nenever been perfect, and they've done some things, and they've got an extra baby in there that, again, she's with the biological mom. So she's there. The one is, in a safe environment. However, this couple is still together.
Right.
They're the biological parents still together, living in their homestead. Like, why would you take them from 2 loving parents who've done nothing? Nothing.
Yeah.
And they're not divorced. They're not fighting. They're together fighting the system, and they can't win.
Bless them.
It's insanity. It's like, I sit here going, am I living in some, like, I don't know what world I'm living in. Nothing makes any sense in this particular case. And it's 4 states. It's 4 states and 4 generations that this family has been targeted. The dad was taken in foster care at 6 years old, and he was traumatized, tortured and traumatized through it. And then he aged out at 18, and he got thrown out into the streets. He had nowhere to go, and unfortunately he produced a child. Not unfortunately, he produced a child. Okay. It's not the end of the world. It's a child. And then it got taken. So, it's just repeating behavior.
Yeah.
And yes, we can all get involved at a very, very, very minimal level that you will have to seek it out in your community. I can't get links and post links for your town. So somebody's going to have to be an advocate to set up, here's the links in our town. Let's do this together. But we can set up a coalition across this country if people want to start. The more eyes on these judges and lawyers, the more uncomfortable they get, because they're committing crimes all day long. And we're aware. Understand the Constitution. All you have to do is listen to the court case, and you know exactly what's happening, and you can take notes. Yeah. Take notes on a case and write an affidavit of what you've seen and turned it in. It's paperwork. Be an advocate for the family by writing an affidavit of what you saw as a court watcher. It's holding people accountable.
Do you have a website, Leah, or is there websites out there that sort of discuss everything you're talking about that people could go to as a resource to, learn a little bit more about everything you've been telling us today?
I don't have a website. I've been like a one girl thing. I can't do everything. I don't know how to do it. And if anybody wants to volunteer and help me, that would be great. I am working with a team of builders, and we are working on an AI project that is going to insert all constitutional law. And then it's going to allow people to, for free or very minimal, like, $5 a month, just something to keep the website going. You're going to be able to interact, put your case in, and you're going to be able to banter with the AI back and forth so that you can litigate for yourself, sue juris. Because what you want to do is go sue juris. You want to represent yourself as the living person. And in those courtrooms, you have the power, and you actually run the courtroom as a constitutional advocate for yourself. This isn't me. I'm not some constitutional advocate for whatever. I have to learn it for myself, because this can come to my door. I want to be educated so that I can protect my family. Should they come knocking on my children's door for my grandchildren?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what a lot of people are doing. I didn't know anything about common law, 20 years ago. But then, and I've got a friend that really digs into all this. I do other things, and I've got other people looking into stuff. But everyone needs to learn a little bit about all this stuff, because we don't have any rights, really.
It's international too, and I think that's what people don't understand. So common law is God's law, and the Constitution just puts it in practice, right? Like it's a performance. It helps you perform. This is, if you do this, you get this. If you do that, you get this. It's showing you, and it's establishing the directives of common law, and it's international. This applies, like I said, as a constitutional law consultant, again, not a lawyer, I can guide anybody, because it's not family law. It's not, state law. It's not federal. It's all of them, because God's law applies to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do have the power. It is with us, internationally. So
yeah, can I just ask you, because you mentioned habeas corpus, can you just explain to people what that is and what you've been doing with that?
Well, I don't do that. I'm in training. So the constitutional law consultant that I've been working under, she's brilliant. It's basically, to my understanding, it's bringing you back to your, because corpus is your corpse, right? So it's taking you out of being dead back into the living, where it's like a performance. I think that's what she's saying. It's like a performance. You put in the documents, and then the habeas corpus is a performance. You now have to do this. So the way that I understand it is, we write our affidavits of statement against whatever has happened. Then I believe there's 640 Article 3 judges that Trump has set aside. And that's another issue. You have to be an Article 3 compliant judge in order to be legal and lawful under the Constitution. And at this point, I don't believe that there's any legally Article 3 judges that are ruling. They have to be appointed in good standing. There's rules to being an Article 3 judge. And then you write the habeas, and the habeas supports your affidavit of statement. And then once the habeas is either dismissal because of jurisdictional issues, or you need to dismiss it because you don't have a case against us, in particular this family, once the habeas forces that to happen, where you get your rights back as the living person, then you use some what I'm understanding is called the takings clause. And then you write the remedy, because in constitutional law, wherever there's a right taken, there is a remedy. And so then you write the remedy on the back end after you get the children home, or whatever it is that they've done. Then you write that and you get your remedy. It's a 4-step process. It's detailed, takes a lot of time. However, it is that simple. The common law is very simple, because it's God's law, and it's just, and it doesn't require a lot. They make it so convoluted. There's you have to jump through 1 million hoops, and every hoop you jump through, they have 10 more right behind it as you work your way up the judicial system. We go straight to the Supreme Court, because that's the ultimate law. We're supposed to have common law grand juries, and under a common law grand jury, the Supreme Court is the only court that can rule. So all these other courts, just are filters to slow down that process and burn you out, so you don't have any resources to get to the Supreme Court, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, there's still a lot of people that just do not understand how international this Satanism problem is, and how many people practice this shit. They are anti-God. They are anti everything that we hold dear. And the closest thing to God to them is children. Right? And they have, taking pleasure out of seeing a child cry and things like that. These are the people we are dealing with, and the abuse of children. And it is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
What they don't understand is The most prized child is one with an umbilical cord still attached. So I'm just going to leave it right there. That is what they want, which is why the hospitals and these birthing centers, which is why they're so important to them. The abortion industry, it's out of the womb. It's the purest of the pure, and what they do to a baby with a placenta attached is unimaginable. But it is the truth. They do. That is their highest sacrifice. So. Wow. I know what I'm fighting for, and so it's like it's really difficult for, to stand down. And I don't have it all. I'm just regurgitating my on-the-job training. So I hope I'm doing my constitutional lawyer consultant guru. I hope I do her good, because she is brilliant. She is passionate. She has taken on cases that nobody would take on, and she fights like hell. And she's 80 years old. And she never stops, and I'm in gratitude for her education.
Wow. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Can I just ask, because you said you've been followed many places. Do you know who you've been followed by?
No.
But I work with the King of Hawaii, and his Secret Service lives by me, and his Secret Service is the one who intercepted people following me and said, I got your tail off of you for you. I was like, thanks. And then I had a guy up north one time. I had met just a nice person, and we went broad daylight. He wanted to take me somewhere, and there were 2 SUVs following us. And he said, did you recognize the 2 SUVs following us, one from the left and one from the right? And I said, no. And he goes, he specifically took me to a safe place because he recognized that people were following us. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe take me back where you found me. Strangers, I can't even meet strangers, and I'm like, so sorry for that. And he goes, no, it's okay. Like, how awkward,
Like, yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about this case? Because I would like to talk about you and Lewis Holmes in a minute, obviously, because you did film cases together, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's so much. The gang stalking is excessive. They did have people destroy their property multiple times when they were out of state. Obviously, they have to stay out of state to do this. So it leaves their property very vulnerable. And I will back up with, this family is constitutional. They taught their children constitutional law, and they have gone around the West Coast serving people about COVID, people about all of the injustices. So everybody on this side of the town is very aware of the judicial notices that this family has served in the courts all over the place. And so unfortunately, then they're targeted, and they don't get the help that they need where they live, because everybody, including the sheriffs and stuff, have been served. I mean, they have done injustice to this family. And so they're a target now. That's all people need to know. You become a very serious target, and people with guns follow you.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, if you can give that family our love, and from everyone in the chat out there, we will pray for them and do everything we can, and share this video about everywhere we can, for sure. Right? Yeah. Because there's lots of people suffering in this world at the moment, while this hidden war continues to its climax, hopefully sooner than later.
And like I said, this is an epidemic. This is consistent with all the families. You go to you can look them up online. Go listen to any ad hoc meeting from Arizona. Every single family in there is like, we can't afford this. There's a cardiologist in Phoenix that was worth $10 million. He's bankrupt. My friend that was on the video, David Segui, he was a professional baseball player for the Orioles, bankrupted. Not to the point he can't live, but I'm just saying, these people with millions of dollars are targets just like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not peculiar to poor people, homesteaders, people who live in apartments, or people who live in $10 million homes. They're coming for your children. It doesn't matter.
It's what I say to everyone. You cannot get away from this. I know people that say, oh, Great Britain's crap at the moment because of everything that's going on over here with the immigration and Labour Party and all these sorts of things. I'm going to move away to here. I'm saying you can't escape this, right? It is everywhere. Everyone has got to make a stand and get involved and do something. Yeah. Whether they're Q and the military are working behind the scenes, and Trump says we're giving power back to you, the people, and stuff. We, the people, they cannot give us anything back. They're not coming in to save us. They cannot just do anything like that until we, the people, have risen up and met them in the middle somewhere, so that we're at a level, right, to be able to hold on to that power of truth, justice, responsibility, and love, and eradicating all this criminality everywhere. Because otherwise, it will just go underground and pop up somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the work you're doing is just so incredible. But what I do love about this particular show is that you've given people something they can do. It's not just hearing another story that we feel awful about. We have to start doing these small things.
They're the most powerful. In truth, when you start out foundationally, again, writing an affidavit of statement in support of a family, and maybe you don't know somebody, but I guarantee you, everybody in this audience, if they really dug in and and maybe they don't know anybody, but they started asking around, just go to your personal friends and start becoming aware. Turn the TV off. Stop going to, all this extra stuff. Start getting uncomfortable in your own life where you're choosing to pursue truth, and you're choosing to wake up and say, okay, I've dropped the ball a little bit. I haven't engaged. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to start researching it. And like I said, become an advocate, even to the minimal of being a court watcher or just going down to the court and being a presence. Yeah. If 100 people would just go stand in the courtroom quietly, we don't have to be Antifa. You don't have to burn anything. You don't have to throw, sticks and stones. We don't need weapons. We need presence. We need your presence in these courtrooms and in these spaces where families aren't feeling so alone. And how would you like it if it came to your door?
Right.
Do you want 20 people going with you, or do you want to be left alone where you're just drowning while everybody else is going to, their kid's soccer game on Saturday, and church on Sunday, and birthday parties on Tuesday, and and these other families can't even see their kids, can't even talk to them, haven't held them in 2 years. Do you want to go another day without your child? No, you don't. Why would you want your brothers and sisters to go another day without their children? When are we going to be pierced in our hearts? Our hearts are so hard and so wicked, and we love money so much that we aren't willing to sacrifice for our brothers and sisters. It's biblical. Lay down your life for a friend. Bear one another's burdens. Are you bearing one another's burdens? Because God doesn't care about how much money you got in your bank account. They don't care. He doesn't care what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in. What do you have for the kingdom that you're hoarding? Do you have an extra RV that's sitting in an RV lot 9 months out of the year, 10 months out of the year, that could be lent to a young mom with a baby who doesn't have a roof over her head? It's the only thing that would give her child back is a roof over her head. And you have an RV that you pay storage on. Right. You pay storage. Couldn't you loan it to a young mom or a young father? Couldn't you sacrifice a little bit? I mean, it's easy, guys. It's really easy. Do you have an older car that you're going to sell that's only worth $5,000? What's that $5,000 going to do for you when it would give a mom the ability to get to work? Right. Give your old car up. Stop giving stuff away and stop selling it for profit. You have resources and gifts and an abundance. You live in abundance. Where's your extra? Stop filling up under the Christmas tree 1 million gifts for kids that have everything, and teach your kids to give to kids that are living in a system that's torturing them. I mean, it's education on what's happening and sacrifice. God says it in the Bible. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you.
No, that's something that really does piss me off when you say, well, I'm banned off Facebook for 8th time now, so I won't be seeing any of that, which is all right. But when people, just post pictures of how much stuff they've got under their tree, and or for a birthday for a 1-year-old, you know what I mean? And it's just, and it's all for look at me.
The excessive, and I'm guilty. Listen, I am walking the walk. Okay. I lived in a beautiful custom home. I had a beautiful life, and I still do. I still have a beautiful life. Don't misunderstand. But God called me to sacrifice. Pick up your cross and follow me. And it's gonna hurt, girl. It's gonna really hurt. And I'm gonna try you, and I'm gonna test you, and I'm gonna refine you by the fire. And you're gonna come out on the other side, and you're gonna know that I sustained you. And God told me, you have this exact amount of money, period, and you're gonna trust me. You're gonna trust me. And I'm not, this isn't for everybody. Don't misunderstand. I'm not asking everybody to do what I've done, but if you did a tenth of what I've done, you would make the most powerful impact on humanity.
God bless you, really, Leah. And I think it's just a matter of and I don't want to give you any more work, but I think you've given everybody a lot of ideas on how. I guess the question is just like, how do we know how to watch? Like, where do we go? Do we just go on the docket? Do we, like, how do we do that? You know, because that would be tremendous for so many people who have time, and that can lead to a lot of other things. Like, because then you'll see what they need, what help she needs, how she could, and then, you know, then it's a matter of just the community. Like, hey, I was just doing this today, and there's this woman and this man, and they need this and they need that. And then we start to do grassroots that way.
And we have to make sure, like I said, whoever's willing to take on that challenge of vetting the situation, because what you don't want to do is defend a family that's beating their children. You know what I mean? You have to be. There's 350 million people in this country. I'm one woman. I can't do the vetting for every scenario. This is public responsibility. This is you being an advocate for somebody in your life that you can't turn a blind eye to. If I did not help this family, can you imagine the consequences in my soul? God showed me, and I had to obey, and I had to trust. And let me tell you, you can ask the family, anybody. I have repented a lot. I fall short all the time. My faith is not strong. I am weak in so many ways that I've wanted to give up. I've wanted to walk away. You know, you are around the group of people that I'm around, and they can tell you, all those people can testify how many times I've cried and tried to run from this. I don't want this. You know, I don't want this in my life. I'm in a dangerous situation. I don't get to be around my family. I don't have a kid in child protective services, and I don't get to see my family. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I have a mission that's requiring me to be dialed in, laser focused, and I can't look left or right. I have to finish the mission. And I know a lot of times my family doesn't understand, and I respect that. But it does hurt, because I don't have those comforts. I don't get to go home to holding my grandchildren and my children. I don't. And until this is finished, I don't get that. My families don't get their children back, and the people we work with. We have to work for everybody until this is resolved. And we've been told that. We've been shown. I do have NDAs, so there's things I cannot discuss of who I'm associated with and where I'm at. I am guided that once this ends, everybody gets back what we've all lost. The wealth of the wicked, right, gets returned to the righteous. So.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Now, have you got any more questions, Elisa? Because I just want to talk about cages for a little bit.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got the cages trailer here. If I just play that now, and then we can have a little chat about it after. Yeah?
Absolutely.
drug I like is the one I use to make you shut your damn trap and have you effortlessly submit to my will.
Young lady was court ordered to be sterilized under the false pretense of having an appendectomy.
What you're about to learn will be shocking, heart-wrenching, and may seem unbelievable. You will see hard evidence, anecdotal and circumstantial evidence of blatant crimes against humanity.
Jaime Zapata and I were ambushed while on official assignment. We were ambushed by 8 assassin shooters from the Zeta cartel.
It's simple. Nothing is more lucrative than the flesh.
One of my volunteers came across a woman being raped by 10 cartel coyote, called Border Patrol. Border Patrol told him to wait and call during business hours.
Then CPS steps in and completely takes your child from you, and you never get them back.
We've convinced good people to be on the forefront to cover for what you call evil. It is absolutely genius.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I watched that when it came out, obviously. And so do you want to talk about that? What was your involvement in that? Because, you know, Lewis is a friend of ours and we've had him on the show a few times, and he's been doing some excellent work. But it was, you know, when I heard you were involved in it as well, I thought that amazing.
Well, it's actually my story. I had shared what was going on in the streets of Phoenix, and somebody said, "Hey, I know this guy Lewis. I'm going to make a phone call." And he flew in the next day, and we spent 2 or 3 days together, and I gave him everything. I mean, because I'd been working in the streets for 2 years. I had a lot of evidence. I had a lot of proof. I had done a lot of work with teams inside the system. And so I was able to share everything that I had discovered there. And we agreed that we needed to do this documentary. So I had a family situation that I had to step out of that documentary because anyway, I had a family situation that I had to step out. And I just am in gratitude that Lewis continued to move forward with that documentary and made that happen. And I will forever be in gratitude that he took that story and did that. So it was a gift that Lewis gave me. So I'm in gratitude.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Well, that's pretty much done. Elisa, have you got anything else to ask?
No. I just know that I'm going to be sharing this with everyone. You know, we like to share all our shows, obviously, but we're also not just trying to educate, we're trying to inspire people to actually get involved and do things. And certainly any way we can help you with any of the contacts we have to get on other shows, right, to get to as many audiences.
Absolutely. That the key is, so now I'm able to travel. So my request is, and I say I'm a church girl, right? I know how churches run, and I don't think they're all bad. Obviously, I think there's more good in them than there's bad. I think people are just unaware of how powerful that unit can be, because you have every resource under one roof. And if everybody had a mission in mind and they understood the gravity, lots of hands can really make a difference in a local community, you know. And specifically, like, this one judge had 1,000 families on Facebook that he had taken their children. Well, guess what? If those one judge, 1,000 families, same scenario. Yeah. Yep. So these Facebook pages come out, and all you have to do, I'm going to give you a good hint. Go on Facebook and look up CPS, and you will find
Great.
You will find more people on there and they will all tell you their story. Again, if you don't know them personally, you don't know. However, the documents don't lie and they're public, and these people will give you their documents. They will tell you everything because they're fighting for their children. They have nothing to hide. Then you know. So then groups can get together and come alongside them. I will travel anywhere. Just get me there. I just give me a place to lay and a little bit of food in my belly. I don't eat much and travel expenses, and I will come speak and I will guide and I will go down to a courtroom. I will take you to sit in a courtroom and show you what to do. I will be there. I will speak with you. I speak at Board of Supervisors meetings. I speak at school board meetings. I speak at ad hocs. It doesn't cost anything to stand an advocate for people. Nothing. Gas and a little bit of your time.
Yeah. Well, Leah, you're doing some absolutely amazing work, and
thank you.
It's
we thank you. God bless you.
Fighting alongside you. Now, where can people find you? I know you're on Twitter, aren't you?
Urban Night. I'm Urban Night Girl. Again, it's not me. It's not my face. It's nothing. It's us. It's we the people. So I just use Urban Night Girl. I'm going to educate as much as I can on there and guide and answer as many questions. I don't have all the answers, and I'm one woman. So if anybody has any expectations that I'm going to save anything, I'm not. I'm just here to tell you, if a cupcake mom can walk out of that life and walk in and learn constitutional law on the job training, anybody can do it. I'm just a mother who cares, really.
Exactly. And you're Cupcake Queen 171.
I sure am.
And do you have a YouTube or Rumble channel?
I don't. Cages is on Rumble, and that's that's everything that people need to know. And then I do have Facebook, but again, I'm not advertising. I just have been working. So Urban Night Girl on Telegram is the best. And we're just going to continue to educate people. Knowledge is power.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leah. Lovely to
It was such a pleasure meeting you all in New York. I'm in gratitude for the relationship built, and I thank you for this. And I'll speak anywhere, anytime.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, Leah. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for watching. And yes, we're back tomorrow with Mark Atwood. So take care, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Children are the center of our world, and we do our best to show them that we care. But evil is lurking everywhere to steal their youth, kill their soul, show them things that they should never know. We live in the craziest of times, you never know what's in another's mind. We keep them safe, protect from bad, but they just choose to make them sad and keep their evil rituals alive. Who saves the children? We do, we do. Who keeps them safe and warm and so secure? We do, we do. Who saves the children? We do, we do. And we'll fight to death to keep it safe for you. We'll fight for what's right with all of our might. children.